The route up the hill is long and difficult, and not everybody manages to get one of the coveted seats on the train. The track is steep, leading up to a plateau, to a town where cars and motorcycles are strictly forbidden. At the small station down in Niral, all the tickets are sold out as usual. Passengers rush for the seats with the best views before the train departs on its slow but steady ascent. After the only guarded level crossing of the whole journey, a 2-hour ride lies ahead. Most passengers are tourists, looking forward to a stunning trip that attracts railway enthusiasts from all around the world. The final destination of the narrow-gauge railway, which Indians lovingly call the toy train, is the plateau of this flat-topped mountain. Hidden beneath the trees lies the car-free health resort of Matheran. It's over 30 degrees Celsius in the shade, and the gentle breeze of travel provides little relief. But to experience one of the most impressive railway journeys in India, passengers gladly do without the comfort of air-conditioned carriages. Over the years, the little narrow-gauge railway has transported millions of passengers to Matheran this way. After 45 minutes, the train reaches an altitude of 250 meters, and the temperature begins to cool. The railway connects Niral with Matheran in northwestern India, in the state of Maharashtra, around 60 kilometers east of Mumbai as the crow flies. To climb the 800 meters, engineers cut 221 bends into the rock in only a single tunnel. The train makes slow progress, since the distance is short but very steep, with extremely narrow bends. 20 kilometers in 2 hours, to reach one of the most remarkable places in India. Hardly any other train in the world manages such a difference in altitude over such a short distance. No wonder the top speed is just 16 kilometers an hour, quite a leisurely pace. The journey leads through an unusual landscape with volcanic origins. It is said that the second largest volcanic eruption of all time occurred here, powerful enough to cause the extinction of the dinosaurs. The train drivers say that the pace used to be even slower when steam locomotives still chugged through the mountain forests. Almost 30 years ago, in 1982, they were decommissioned and replaced by diesel engines. 100 years earlier, in the age of railway construction, there was no such thing as an insurmountable obstacle. All around the world, audacious railway lines were being built, the ones in India mainly by the British. But it was an Indian named Adam G. Peerboy who dared to conquer this flat-topped mountain. He had the courage, and his father, the first sheriff of Mumbai, the money. His great-great-grandson, Abdul Hussain, recalls how the unusual idea of a private railway was born. My great-grandfather was Abdul Hussain Adamji Peerboy. He visited Matheran frequently in the late 19th century. Back then he had to ride his horse to get here and always travelled with a gun. He especially enjoyed the wonderful climate up here. Quite often he was accompanied by Lord Willingdon from Great Britain. Indeed, that was over 100 years ago. And then he thought, well, I'm the son of a millionaire, but how can a common person enjoy the beauty of Matheran? He discussed it with his father and told him he wanted to encourage a railway project to make Matheran accessible for the common people. That was the main reason. Numerous stories from that founding area have been handed down. Yes, I remember one fascinating anecdote. When the railway was built, most of the work had to be done by hand, even the blasting. But there was a very dense forest here, and during the blasting, hundreds of snakes came crawling out of the forest and fled in fear. But in India, snakes are honored and worshipped. So all the workers began praying to the snakes. Cobra God, they cried and laid down their tools. Then there was an official announcement that everyone who kills a snake will receive 1 rupee. That would be about 18 rupees today. That was a lot of money in those days. So the workers all received a decent bonus. They killed the snakes and the construction work could continue. It took his great-grandfather, Abdul Hussain, 7 years to fulfill his dream of a private railway. He travelled to Germany and ordered the steam engines. A completely new hinge mechanism had to be developed for the engines and the carriages, due to the narrow bends. After all, the train had to stay on the rails despite the narrow gauge of only 61 centimetres. Nothing was too extravagant or expensive for Abdul Hussain. He even ordered the teak railway sleepers from Burma, known today as Myanmar. And the system of hinges still works to this day. The line now belongs to the Central Indian Railways. The family sold it to the National Company. Most of the day travellers using the railway come from Mumbai. The best place to grab some sweets is at a service area half an hour before arriving in Niral. 100 buffaloes and cows provide the milk for all kinds of delicacies. The farm is famous for them throughout the region. Dinesh Yadav has been working on the dairy farm for 12 years. The dough for samosas is made and kneaded early every morning. Around 300 of the pastry delicacies stuffed with potatoes and vegetables are sold at the counter every day. Each and every one is handmade. The mixture of spices for the filling is every samosa baker's special secret. The hearty seasoning includes garam masala, ginger, chili and salt. Neither Dinesh nor Rajesh, who stirs the sweet halvas, will reveal their recipes. Everyone in India knows the basic recipe of milk, sugar and spices. The milk is boiled until it thickens. Everything else remains secret. Outside, with the flat-top mountain in view, India's all-time favourite meal is being served. Samosas, lassi, a drink made from yogurt and water, and the sugary sweet halvas. The silver foil used on barfi, another sweet seasoned with cardamom, is edible and can be eaten right along with the treat itself. After such tasty snacks, the short walk up to the nearby Kondana caves is not strenuous at all. The ascent up the hill is shaded by old trees. The holy site is reached in just 40 minutes. A cave and rock temple built over 2,400 years ago. That means it dates back to the time when Gautama Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, was alive. It is said that he lived for some time and meditated in this cave monastery. The stupa of the monastery's nave, the reliquary, is said to have once been over 9.5 meters high. For a long time, the impressive outer facade remained largely destroyed, but reconstruction and restoration work has been going on for some years now. On the way to the train, on the path to Niral, lies an Adivasi village. The Adivasi people were once nomads, but have settled in recent decades and now make their living mainly with the farming of rice, grain and vegetables. But the families in this village have also developed a specialization in bamboo basket weaving some time ago. It is a secure form of income for the 600 inhabitants. Meanwhile, their baskets are sold throughout the entire district. The necessary bamboo grows all around the Umbavadi village. It can be harvested easily and it grows back swiftly too. Thus it forms the ideal basis for 45 families. The Ram family in Niral lives on rice, vegetables and grains. Raja Ram has been a train driver for 16 years. He earns a good wage working for the Matheran-Hill Railway and can afford an above-average education for his children. He can pay for his oldest son's university studies and will no doubt manage the same for his other 3 children. Nearly every day, the 51-year-old makes his way to the station. The ride through the narrow streets takes just a few minutes. While the passengers board the train, Rajaram checks his 400 horsepower engine. Today, he has the strongest of them all, the Indian one. The other 4 engines from Germany have only 365 horsepower, but he actually prefers them. Raja and his colleagues drive the train up and down 4 times during the week. There are 6 trips at the weekend. Rajaram was trained by the Central Indian Railways. He never wanted to be anything other than a train driver and still enjoys every single journey. As always, all the seats are taken, despite the fact that tickets are very expensive by Indian standards, 20 rupees, around 30 euro cents, in second class. That is 6 times more expensive than a normal train ride. Train ticket prices are generally state-controlled, but this line has a special permit. It's only a few minutes to the first stop in Jumapati. Rajaram and the train have only managed to climb 200 meters so far. The stop will not be for long, since only a few people get on and off here. I really like my work because the passengers come from everywhere, near and far. The train has made Niral a real connecting point for Central Railways. I want tourists who come here to enjoy the trip. Our name will soon be added to the list of World Heritage Sites. I'm grateful for that. Ready? Let's go. Okay. The narrow-gauge journey continues up towards the flat-topped mountain, around the narrowest of bends, secured on the inside by an extra track to prevent derailing. Everyone enjoys the 2-hour trip through the volcanic landscape in his or her own way. Just looking out of the window is not everyone's thing. Many of the passengers know the route already. It's not the first weekend in Matheran for them. They come from the busy, stuffy, and above all, noisy city of Mumbai, looking forward to a weekend in the fresh air. After 14 kilometers, we reach the only tunnel, 40 meters long. They playfully call it One Kiss Tunnel. But there's little time for intimacies here. Ever higher, ever steeper. This is no place for being afraid of heights. Even from the top, you can still see the point of departure, which is unique in India. The town of Niral is a small village where all the preconceptions, clichés and images of India come true. Many people here have become quite wealthy through tourism. Hardly any sign of poverty here, and the range of goods available is diverse. Only the meat on offer is limited to chicken and lamb, as is generally the case in India for religious reasons. The Hindus regard cows as holy animals, while Muslims do not eat pork. So, in recent years, numerous emu farms have been established around Niral to provide greater variety. The meat tastes best when the birds are 10 to 12 months old. They then weigh around 30 kilos and have a retail price of 200 to 250 euros. The fat reserves in the meat can also be used to produce cosmetics. The feathers are popular for handicrafts. Around 80 adult emus currently live on the breeding farm, as well as roughly 150 young birds. The little ones, only a few weeks old, come from incubators. The eggs, each weighing 500 to 650 grams, are not sold. Emu farmer Ramesh Mohan needs them all to breed more animals. I was watching the Discovery Channel at home once, and they showed a film about emus. That's how I learned that the meat of these animals is cholesterol-free, and the oil is also said to be very healthy. So I thought, since I enjoy eating meat myself, it would be better to have good meat to prevent blood pressure problems. That's how I decided to raise emus. So I left my government job and started breeding them. I want the people around me to eat only good meat too, so they won't have any health problems. That's how I became the first person to open an emu farm in the state of Maharashtra. And he's visibly pleased when the next emu chicks break through their protective eggshells after 54 or 55 days. No doubt it's hard work and can take several hours. Most people in the region of Neral make their living from farming. It's late February. The first rice fields are being flooded, ploughed and planted. The volcanic landscape soil is fertile. People here have never experienced a lack of food. Images of a tough, traditional and simple life so close to the mega city of Mumbai. The train driver Raja Ram regularly visits the Ambivali hillside temple to pray and meditate. He loves the cave, the peaceful, cool temple, which is said to have once been inhabited 4,000 years ago. It was used as a Buddhist temple from the 4th century onwards and is now a Hindu place of worship. Statues of various Hindu deities stand in niches in the rock. No one knows how old they are. Krishna, the god of shepherds, who's worshipped as a kind of saviour. Beside him is his beloved Radha. Vishnu, the god who sustains and destroys the world. His wife, Lakshmi, goddess of beauty and happiness. Once again, here is Krishna, admired and honoured for his endless love of people and animals. Planning of the railway took 4 years, and construction took 3. In March 1907, the first steam engine finally made its way up the mountain. During the monsoon period between mid-June and mid-October, when heavy rainfall makes the track bed dangerous, only 1 train runs per day at the most. In the autumn of 2005, enormous volumes of water, the worst ever in the region's living memory, sent 2/3 of the line crashing down into the valley. It took nearly 2 years for the line to be reopened. The former village on the high plateau was discovered by British colonial troops as a pleasant resort. Although they didn't build the railway, the name Matheran, literally Mother Forest, comes from them. Or, to be more precise, it was coined by the Governor of Bombay at the time, Lord Elphinstone. The Matheran Light Railway, as it is officially called, is the only narrow-gauge mountain railway from this period that was not built by the British, who constructed the Kalka-Shimla, the Kangra-Valley, the Darjeeling and the Nilgiri railways. Today, train driver Rajaram is riding as a passenger, accompanied by friends and helpers. For 7 years, he's regularly joined them on the ascent, getting off halfway up the mountain. Together with 3 colleagues, he's begun private construction work right alongside the railway line. It will soon finally be finished. The train takes 90 minutes to get there. It's actually forbidden to get off the train while in motion, but it's only moving at 10 kilometers an hour at this point. and who is seriously going to try and stop the long-serving train driver. The bell reveals the entrance to Raja Ram's new Hindu temple. The way there is actually quite dangerous. But what the men then do is even more so. With the greatest concentration, physical effort and courage, they've been working for years on a rock ledge at dizzying heights. For years, they've been carving a statue of Ganesha, the god of writing and wisdom, out of the rock. Raja Ram only needs to paint and decorate the elephant-headed god before it is finished. As a train driver, I regularly travel on the route from Niral to Matheran. One day, after observing this cliff for a while, I had the feeling that the god Ganesha lived inside it. I spoke to several people about it and thought about what to do. Most people tried to discourage me when I told them of my plans. So I finally began working alone. They said it was far too dangerous, since there's a deep ravine beneath the rock. But then my friends Vishnu, Raja and Mohinder promised to help me. 80% of the temple work is now finished, and we're steadily continuing our work. He plans to be finished in the spring of 2012 at the latest. Then, after 9 years' work, he will have the temple, funded only by donations, officially consecrated. It is still to be decided whether the Matheran-Hill Railway will then get a new station. One of the narrowest bends on the way to the destination. Roughly 120 degrees on a radius of little more than 20 meters. The train must advance very cautiously here, since it could easily derail. The diesel locomotives have been fighting their way up the hill for almost 30 years. Engine number 740 will soon be restored for special, nostalgic, historic trips. It was one of the first locomotives in service back in 1907. Soon, a steam engine will once again make its way up the hill, both a memory of the past and a tourist attraction. A well-built road has long run beside the train line to Matheran. The railway workers themselves caused its construction. A strike cut off the mountaintop town from the outside world for months. The old path was initially made passable for jeeps and then later asphalted. That was in 1974. Fortunately, it's not had a negative effect on the toy train. And the railway workers succeeded in getting the wage increases they had demanded. They've been traveling for almost an hour and 45 minutes, and their spirits are still high. The train has now reached an altitude of 700 meters. It's not far to Matheran now, only 3 kilometers, less than half an hour. The temperature has become pleasantly cool, less than 30 degrees in the shade. The carriages are filled with the fresh, clear scent of the leafy forest. Although the railway does not generate a profit, despite the trains always being full, there's no doubt that it will still exist in decades to come, since it is a major tourist attraction. The operators hope it will soon be included in the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites, which would help them maintain the quality of the train service. Arrival in Matheran, the resort town at an elevation of 800 meters. First, a resort tax must be paid at the station exit, 25 rupees per person, around 40 euro cents. There are no fixed prices among the horse and rickshaw owners, so tough bartering is required. Everyone wants to reach the hotel as comfortably as possible. Even if it means riding a horse to get there. At weekends, the streets and alleys are packed with tourists. The small town, with only 5,000 inhabitants, attracts 700,000 visitors a year, and they're all very welcome. Nearly all the families in Matheran make a living from tourism, with many of them working in the 80 hotels and 100 other places offering accommodation. On Sundays, which is market day, traders also come up from the valley, many by train. Business is flourishing. No building, not even a hotel, is permitted to be higher than the treetops. Cars and mopeds are entirely forbidden. That's the law, and the result is a refined, luxurious garden atmosphere. Most visitors enjoy the peace and quiet, the clean air that is cooler than the lowlands, and the shady paths on the high plateau. No one needs to walk the entire 80-kilometre network of trails to reach one of the impressive views such as Heart Point, Honeymoon Point, Panorama Point and Monkey Point. For the people of Mumbai, the mountaintop resort is their favourite weekend excursion. Chalk Point reveals a good view of the drinking water reservoir for the city of 17 million inhabitants. And they can be found in more places up here than just at Monkey Point. The monkeys meet the motorized tourists some 2.5 kilometers before they reach Matheran. All vehicles must be left at the car park outside the town. From here, progress is on foot, on horseback or by rickshaw. But most guests prefer to enjoy their first short walk. Porters will carry bags to the hotel for a small fee. Consumer goods, food, building materials. Everything must be carted up here. That means lots of hard work for these men. Workhorses are on the move at storage places from morning to night to ensure the availability of supplies. The men at the loading station also have their hands full. And this is the only place up here without any shade. Around 500 horses used for work and riding are officially registered in Matheran. Unofficially, the number is said to be closer to 700, and they all need a pedicure once a month since the ground is so stony. So 4 blacksmiths work here in Matheran. One of them is Manoj Madhukas. He forges 2,500 horseshoes a month. He needs 1,000 himself for shodding. He sells the others for 50 rupees, just under €1. It's good business for him, and he's not alone. This isn't just any old job or profession. I love the horses, and that's why I do what I do. And when the horses are shod, they like it too. It's much more comfortable for them to walk on new horseshoes. I learned this craft and started working at it right after leaving school. I never thought about doing anything else. He's been self-employed for 15 years. After all, for a 45-minute hoof treatment, including re-shodding, he can charge 300 rupees from the horse owners who come with their valuable animals. That's €5, which is a lot of money in India. And they come to Matheran to celebrate, to get married. Wedding couples come from all over India. Today's celebration is especially magnificent. 500 invited guests follow the bride. She's a native of Matheran, and the groom is from a wealthy Mumbai family. None of the locals want to miss the occasion. The line of well-wishers takes an hour to pass. Each of them politely contributes to the extravagant event with a gift of money. Only family members are present later at the religious ceremony. A priest marries the couple strictly according to Hindu ritual. The other guests have already gone to eat. The amusement park is especially popular with children. Since motors are not permitted in the town, even the Ferris wheel is rotated by muscle power. There are plenty of attractions at the weekend. Women and men from the small ethnic group of the Adivasi are invited to present their traditional dances, such as the pugri. It's used as a festive dance for weddings, a dance in honor of the god Ganesha, or sometimes just to entertain an audience. Despite all the lively entertainment, nature's beauty on the mountain top provides the most impressive experiences. Charlotte Lake is the resort's reservoir. Reaching the vantage points on horseback is not only convenient, but also an adventure for city dwellers. It's difficult to leave and get back on the train. Although there's plenty to do for an extended stay, most visitors leave the town after just 1 or 2 days. The train descends for 2 magnificent hours, just as slowly and just as spectacularly. Holidays in Matheran are also a journey through India's recent history, no longer dominated by the British, but instead by a native family which still enjoys great respect to this day. Today's Indian government will continue to do everything it can to preserve this heritage for generations to come. The railway and the unique town of Matheran.